Hi everyone, this is Mark from Cambria Hobby again, and we're continuing on our build of the Asia Tech drones Cyclops E. Today we're going to go ahead and start on the fuselage, and you can see all the pieces and parts that go into the fuselage here. And just to note that there was a modification done, and the new parts have been put into the kit. First of all, these are the old parts here. So you can see this part has a little bit different. It's got a long thin piece here, and this piece here is used to connect onto it. So those are going to be done away with. We're going to leave those aside for the time being. And the new pieces happen to be right here. So here's the new one of the new pieces of wood for the structure. And also you've got these two small pieces here. And this other structural piece here. So those are new pieces that were built after the first revision came out, and the testers came up with this type of fix, which gives you a little bit more stability and security for the wing itself. And we're going to go ahead and put that together first, and we're going to go ahead and insert it. The reason we're going to put this together first, by the way, is because it is going to be inserted in the central part of the wing that goes into the fuselage. That's why you're going to combine this together. There is a little bit of cutting that needs to be done on this. So once we get to that point, I will go ahead and I'll show you what needs to be cut. And the way that I'm going to do it is probably put some, once I build the pieces here, the structural pieces, and then I will go ahead and put some pressure on it and mark it, and then go ahead and cut it. Also on the fuselage itself, there are two small pieces that need to be removed, and I'll try to, what I've done here is I've already removed the first one. I just kind of slid it back in here so you can see. So this piece needs to be cut out, and you'll see here how it's cut out. And this piece is not cut out on this one yet, so I just wanted to show you the before and after. So those need to be cut out. Also, we have another a bunch of other small pieces that need to go in to the fuselage. This is for the nose section. That will go in. There's also another second nose section, this other round piece right here, that will, if you didn't want to use, or I shouldn't say that, this piece goes in, and then we have another round piece that's going to go in also for stability. This is part of the frame itself that you'll put your equipment on. Same with this. We have these small pieces, and you'll notice, I don't know if I can get that close, not without getting it too fuzzy, but anyway, there's these small pieces with little holes in it. It just happens that these pieces here, and I don't know if you could see it, these also have holes in it, and they can screw down for security on there. And then you have some of these spacers, I shouldn't say spacers, I should say more pieces of wood that will go ahead and connect into the fuselage. What I've done is I've slipped a couple of the small ones here with the holes in it. I've slipped those in. I have not glued them yet. So what we'll do is I'll be back in a few minutes, and I will just go ahead and dry fit the pieces in on this side of the fuselage before I put the wing piece back into its area here. And I'll also cut the other piece of foam out of the fuselage. The reason why they didn't cut it out is because, as you can see, this is a little it would make it too thin and it would probably break off. And once you put the wing portion in here, you can glue all this together and it'll stay real nice. A couple of things that I did find out though is when I was doing the wing and putting the rods in, I ran into some issues with CA glue. One of the issues I had with the CA glue is that anytime I moved the wing at all, the carbon fiber would lift up from it. So what I did is I used some UHU pour on that. I am testing on this plane, I am testing this Foamtastic. I got it at the hobby, I shouldn't say hobby, well it is a hobby store, but I've got it at where they have hobby supplies and stuff. So I'm going to try that and see how that works. I've kind of did a test on it earlier this morning. I want to see how that's holding, and we'll be back in a bit and we'll start dry fitting some of these pieces into the fuselage. Thank you very much. Mark from Cambria Hobby. Be talking to you soon. So what I've done is I went ahead and I dry fitted the parts into the fuselage. There are a couple other pieces, but the other tray, which is here, that could be put here. I'm going to end up probably putting my electronics towards the back. I'll probably make a couple of vent holes so this way everything can breathe. There is a vent hole up front here. I've gone ahead and I put the wheel in just so you can see that there's a wheel for the nose, and that'll keep it from keep it from tearing it apart. You can either put it in, and there is a piece here that if you didn't want the nose the nose wheel, then you could go ahead and leave this in, glue this in. I haven't decided yet. I'll have to do that before I glue the fuselage together. Alright, so just kind of going over a couple of things. This happens to be this piece. This has a notch that goes in on the front here, and that'll go ahead and get pushed right on in just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my wood pieces together with wood glue before I go ahead and assemble this. I've also seen some people, and which I thought was a good idea too, what they've done is instead of putting these pieces in, because it does take up some space, for the cap, or I should say the canopy that goes over this, I may leave these out and then just put magnets, rare earth magnets on the side here. So that's one thing that I was thinking of doing. Alright, so this piece, and you also have two of these. You got two of these pieces. This is going to go right on top of this, and then this will slide in. You'll notice that there's a notch here where this slides into, and then this will go on the front side of that. So when you're gluing it, it really is not going to make a big difference when you're gluing it. Just when you're putting it in, you want to go ahead and make sure that this is towards the front, and what will happen is your tail boom will fit through here and onto here. Alright, now this piece here, what I had to do is, I'm going to take this off, but what I did is these get slid in. There's two of these. I only put one on for the time being. I'll show you on this one, and this gets slid right on in, sorry, just like that, and then this will go ahead and slide in and lock down. Alright, so if you notice here, I know all the little pieces I don't have glued in will probably fall out now, but that's okay. If you notice here's here's one of the pieces that slides into the wood notches. What I had to do is I did have to cut this out a little bit. Hope you can see this. Try to turn it a little bit better. You'll probably see it now. Okay, so in the fuselage itself, you'll have to cut this out so that slides in. You can either do one of two things afterwards. You can either go ahead and glue the piece back in here. I don't think it's going to make a big difference. I'll probably end up running my wires from my wings down inside through here. Okay, do not glue any of this stuff in the fuselage yet. This piece needs to get cut into the wing first, into the center portion of the wing first, and then the whole wing and that assembly will slide right in. So you want to make sure it all gets together and slides in. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue all my wood pieces together with wood glue. So I'm going to glue this piece here on, and then of course the other piece on the other side, like that. And then the center piece here, we'll go ahead and glue this into here. We'll let it set up, or else it's going to fall off just like that one did. So we're going to let it set up for a bit, and so again, I'm going to be taking these and physically taking and gluing these on into the notches. Make sure you're gluing them down like that. Okay, I'll hold them down so you can see it sideways here. Multiple views. And then the other piece is going to get glued into these two notches. So you want to do that, and then go ahead and then you'll fit it in, and I'll show you once I get it fitted into the center portion of the wing. I'll go ahead and take some shots of that and let you see how I did it. This is Mark from Cambria Hobby. Again, we're working on the Asia-Tech drone Cyclops E. Okay, so we're continuing on the Asia-Tech drone Cyclops E. What I've done is I mentioned to you that I was gonna go ahead and glue some of the parts. So what I did is I glued these together with wood glue. These parts do stick out a little bit further, so you need to make sure that this bottom piece here, make sure you see it here, this bottom piece here is off of the surface, because you got a little bit of a lip here. So and then now this way this won't go falling apart when I put it in, and I'll just go ahead and slide that in just like that. So that slides in like that. Now I did not put the piece on the back here because I wanted to make sure that that everything was good and sturdy in here. You can see that fits in nice and sturdy. Nothing's gonna go flopping all over the place now, except for that piece. So let me show you here how that looks. Take all those other pieces out. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and take the center portion of the wing, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you what I'll do here. Pull this back out. Okay, so here's the center portion of the wing. Alright, we know this goes into this like so. And the way that you could tell too is that so what I've done is taken the piece that I've glued together, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that this back piece or the back here is flush. You notice that the notch here and the back piece, this is flush, the notch is here. Make sure you can see that. Okay, again, make sure that the notch matches the notch in the wing, the center portion of the wing, and then the back is flush. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to take my time on this and just take it down little by little. So I want to make sure that's straight, so everything is straight. And then what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start notching this. So you want to go ahead and push it in slowly, just notch it little by little. Alright, I'm going to get that notched out and then I'll be back.